Now I'd like to introduce Sue Dwyer, who arrived in Canada from the United Kingdom in 1970. She's a retired elementary school secretary. Sue and her husband spent some years traveling, ending up wintering in Florida, where she belonged to a creative writing group. Now in Ontario, Sue is working on her memoirs. Everybody, dreaming of days gone by.
Grace rummaged through her box of Christmas decorations. There were the usual color balls, gold, silver, and many red sparkly icicles that she'd really liked once upon a time, but she wasn't so sure now. She found a yellow half moon with eyes and a smile. Danny, her youngest, had brought it home from a flea market for her. He'd been so excited. It was rather odd, but she loved it. A small brown woolen bear with Merry Christmas emblazoned across its chest stared up at her. Where on earth had that come from? Grace Bradley was 90 years old, and she was starting to feel a few more aches and pains. David, Diane, and Danny, her 3 grown-up children, had talked to her about moving into a senior's home, but she'd kicked up a fuss and stubbornly refused to consider the idea. It was frightening to think about leaving her home, but deep down she knew it was inevitable. David put the tree up yesterday and strung the lights on it too, but she declined his offer of help with the decorating. This was her special time. She'd put on a Christmas CD, poured herself a glass of rather good sherry, and had slowly taken out all the ornaments, reliving good memories of past Christmases. A small reindeer caught her eye, and she picked it up carefully. "I remember the year we got this one," she exclaimed to herself. "Neil bought it for David because he loves stories about Rudolph." Grace thought about her husband, who had been gone 5 years now. "He would have told me to move years ago," she admitted, "but I'm just a stubborn old bird, I guess." Grace laughed suddenly as a memory of that Christmas burst into her mind. She'd never cooked a turkey before. Her mother had always done it, but that year she thought she'd show everyone how competent she was. After all, she was married, she worked part-time at a lawyer's office, and she had a 3-year-old son, David, and a daughter, Diane, who was 1. She could do it. Pride always comes before a fall, or so her nanny used to tell her, and she had been right. In the excitement of the day, Grace had forgotten to turn the oven on. The family had gone out to skate on the frozen pond for a few hours, a yearly tradition, and when they had returned, there was no wonderful turkey aroma wafting through the house. She had felt so stupid, and it had been the source of many a joke for years to come. "Where is my snowflake?" she said to herself. She lifted a string of extra lights out of the box, but there was nothing hiding underneath. A wave of panic gripped her and tears sprang to her eyes. Where could it be? She asked the room. Her beautiful snowflake that sparkled so brightly was nowhere to be found. Neil had given it to her on their first Christmas together as a couple. He knew how she loved to decorate the tree with special ornaments. He had proposed that same Christmas, and the snowflake was cherished part of that time. Grace shook her head. "Stop it, you silly old woman," she chastised herself. "Crying isn't going to help you find the thing. You've got to think of where it could be." An idea arose in her mind, and she walked slowly over to the closet. An old cookie tin was sitting on a shelf, and she managed to reach it. Grace carried it over to the bed. The inside of the tin contained no tasty cookies, but bundles of letters tied up with a beautiful blue ribbon. Next to them was her beautiful snowflake. "Why did I put it in here?" she asked herself, shaking her head. No matter. She knew her memory wasn't at its best anymore, but at least she'd figured out where she'd put the thing. Grace returned to the tree, and after hanging the snowflake front and center on the tree, she undid the blue ribbon on her letters. They were love letters from her beloved Neil. His writing was so familiar. The letters had been written in ink. Who did that nowadays? She picked up the first envelope and held it to her nose, taking in the faint aroma of aftershave. Or was that just wishful thinking? She took out the letter. "My darling Grace." The years seemed to fall away from her as she read her husband's words. She was young and beautiful again, and madly in love with the most wonderful man in the world.